Let's see. Harbor Freight impact. All right, so for those that aren't familiar with this socket size to drain the diff, 24 millimeter. I've already broken it loose. I'm going to attempt to drain it into this tea jug just to minimize my cleanup. Famous last words, right? So let's see. Ooh, that looks nasty. Gurgle, gurgle. All right, so it is draining in the jug. A lot less metal on the drain plug than I expected. It's pretty big chunks there though. It's pretty dirty. So in the previous video, I mentioned this differential is loud, and I mean it is loud. It's a very loud whine on acceleration and deceleration. If you float it in between acceleration and deceleration, it's quiet. So that means that, in my experience, that it's the pinion bearings, pinion gear bearings. So I have bought bearings for the differential, and I've got wheel bearings as well. I'm just going to do the whole thing. So This will probably be a 3-part series, so be sure and subscribe. And hopefully this will go off without a hitch, as the saying goes. This does appear to have a crush washer on it that's been used more than once, it looks like. So I'm going to let this drain, and I'll come back and pull this drain jug out of here. So I'll see you in a minute. Okay, I'm going to let that drain a bit, and then I'll figure out the next step. So the probably the next step is going to be to disconnect the parking brake cables and then the brake lines. And I believe at that point I can take the 4 nuts off that hold the backing plate to the axle and slide the axles out. So I'll figure that out in a minute. Alright, so this is the first time I've had a GoPro on my head, so if this looks horrible, I can't use it. Where's my wrench? I'm sure I left the wrench laying somewhere. Here it is. So next I'm going to unhook or disconnect the brake line. If you can see this, 10mm line wrench. Come on. Alright, so I've also cut the finger off of a glove. I'm going to try to put this over and zip tie this. Maybe I'll keep it from leaking everywhere. We'll see. If you live in the Rust Belt, I don't envy you, because this probably would never come apart on a Rust Belt vehicle. I don't really care if I lose brake fluid or not. The brake fluid looks like, kind of like coffee, maybe a dark roast. So it needs to be flushed anyway. I'm not really worried about losing it. I'm just worried about cleanup, mess cleanup more than anything. Interesting fact about brake fluid, it absorbs moisture. So you are supposed to change it or flush it periodically, because it will naturally absorb moisture. Now the term hydroscopic comes to mind. I don't know if that's right or not. Somebody can let me know if it's wrong. I'm not exactly a scientific person. So this appears that it is loose. All right, so let me see if I can set the flashlight up. Still get some of this. Or capture the video. I don't know if this is going to work or not. Probably not. So let's pull this out. Don't pull it too far. You'll crease your brake line, and you don't want to do that. Actually, I'm not really losing much. Okay, so that's probably good enough there. I'm going to shut this off, then I'll move to the parking brake cable. Okay guys, next on the list, parking brake cables. This looks like it just pops out. There's a little whoop-de-doo there. Alright, so this apparently has to come around here. I don't know if you can see that. It's a little hook. I just unhooked the hook. Alright, so it's out. So once that's out, there's a pin. I don't know if I can get this one-handed or not. I pushed it out. Let me get the screwdriver. I'm pushing myself backwards. Alright, so you can oh crap, I dropped you. Are you okay? Did you chip a tooth? Alright, I was trying to show you the pin. See the pin right here? Screwdriver, here it is. So a pin right here. So I'm trying to get that pin out. Maybe I can... Hey, there it is. So once you have that pin out, here's your park and brake cable. So that is loose, and apparently there's a little clip here. And don't know what that does, but let's put it back in its home. And what we'll probably do is just put the pin back in here and put it all back together like nothing happened. So that way we don't lose anything, right? So see how that snaps in? I may have to bend that just a touch when I put it back together to make sure it doesn't come back out. So, alright, so that's that. So the brake line is disconnected. Our parking brake is disconnected. We've got these 4 nuts here. Yes, I did say 4 nuts, not 2. Probably going to do it for tonight because it's dinner time. Full day of work. Came home and I pulled the fender. Pulled the fender off. Pulled the bumper off. Actually pulled the bumper before the fender. The grill. And the grill was not fun. Those stupid little clips if you've ever pulled a Toyota grill. So anyway, that's going to be that for tonight. So the next step in the axle rebuild process, I'm going to pull the drive shaft. I'm going to take the drive shaft out. Looks like it's nuts and bolts on that too. And then once we have the axles out, actually I'll probably do the axles next. Drive shaft, and then I'll pull the differential. So anyway, the next video will be pulling the axles, removing the drive shaft, and then we'll get to the differential. So that'll be a part 2. So we'll see you in the next one.